Michelle Randolph is finally addressing the rumors everyone has been whispering about, and what she's saying is quieter, calmer, and way more intentional than people expected. After weeks of viral speculation linking her to Glen Powell, Michelle chose her words carefully, making one thing clear: whatever is happening, she wants it kept out of the spotlight. Not for drama. Not for mystery. But for peace of mind. In a recent interview, she explained that public perception and real life are two very different things, and letting online narratives define you can quietly mess with your head. In an era where every comment section feels unavoidable, Michelle admits it's hard not to see opinions you never asked for, opinions that can stick with you longer than they should. And that's where this story gets interesting. Because this isn't just about a casual romance. It's about control. About choosing privacy in an industry that rewards oversharing. And about learning from someone else's very public experience before making the same mistakes. Michelle has seen firsthand what happens when a personal relationship becomes public property. Her sister Cassie's journey on reality TV put love, heartbreak, and healing in front of millions, and while it led to growth, it also came with lessons Michelle quietly took notes on. Lessons she's clearly applying now. Instead of feeding curiosity, Michelle is drawing a line. She's not denying anything. She's not confirming details. She's simply choosing not to perform her personal life for the internet. And in Hollywood, that's almost a rebellious move. What makes this even more compelling is the timing. Her career is gaining serious momentum. New projects. Bigger roles. And a clear desire to be known for her work, not her dating history. She said she hopes people notice how much she loves what she does, how intentional she is, and how deeply she cares about her craft. Meanwhile, sources close to the situation describe something surprisingly grounded. No rush. No labels. Just two people in the same industry, spending time together, traveling, laughing, and keeping things light. According to insiders, Glen admires how confident and reserved Michelle is. And she's drawn to how thoughtful and normal he feels away from the cameras. That balance might explain why this connection hasn't turned into a headline-fueled spectacle. Even when they've been spotted together, at holiday celebrations or industry after-parties, it's been subtle. No statements. No posts. No grand reveal. And yet, the internet keeps watching. Every like. Every appearance. Every quiet interaction becomes a talking point. When Michelle shared news about landing a lead role in an upcoming romantic comedy, one small social media interaction reignited the conversation all over again. But here's the bigger picture most people are missing. This isn't a story about secrecy. It's about boundaries. About understanding that not everything meaningful needs to be explained, defined, or defended in real time. Michelle isn't shutting people out. She's protecting something before it has a chance to be shaped by outside noise. And in a culture that constantly asks for more access, that choice says a lot. Because sometimes, the most revealing thing a public figure can do, is decide not to reveal everything. And that raises an even more interesting question. In an industry built on visibility, can privacy actually become a form of power? That's exactly where this story is headed next. When celebrities choose privacy, it often gets mistaken for secrecy. But there's a difference. Secrecy hides something out of fear. Privacy protects something out of intention. And Michelle Randolph is clearly operating from the second place. What she's doing feels calculated in the smartest way possible. She's not fighting the narrative. She's not correcting headlines. She's letting the noise pass without feeding it, and that's a move a lot of people in Hollywood never master. Because attention is addictive. And once you start responding to it, you're no longer in control of the story. Michelle understands that once a relationship becomes content, it stops being just a relationship. It turns into speculation, comparison, expectations, and pressure, none of which actually help two people figure out what they want. By stepping back early, she's keeping the focus where she wants it, on her work, her growth, and her long-term career. And that matters more than people realize. Hollywood has a long history of actresses being defined by who they date rather than what they build. Michelle seems determined not to let that happen. She's made it clear that acting isn't a side chapter in her life, it's the main story. And everything else comes second to that. Interestingly, this approach also changes how the public reacts. The less she says, the less there is to misinterpret. The calmer the tone, the harder it is for narratives to spiral out of control. Even sources describing the relationship emphasize how relaxed and undefined it is, no pressure, no timeline, no public performance. That alone sets this apart from the typical Hollywood romance cycle. And then there's Glen Powell's side of the equation. He's been in the spotlight long enough to know how fast public opinion can shift. In past interviews, he's spoken openly about how breakups create multiple narratives, and how neither side fully owns the truth once it's out there. That perspective likely plays a role in why this situation feels different. More grounded. More intentional. Two people who understand the cost of oversharing tend to move differently. What's also worth noting is how Michelle reframes success. Instead of asking for validation, she asks for longevity. Instead of chasing viral moments, she's building a reputation. She wants to be known as someone who's well-intentioned, committed, and genuinely passionate about her craft, not someone constantly trending for reasons unrelated to her work. That mindset is rare. Especially right now. And it quietly shifts the power dynamic. When you don't need the audience's approval for your personal life, you stop being controlled by it. You get to choose what matters. You get to decide what stays yours. So while fans may keep watching for signs, clues, or confirmations, Michelle's message stays consistent without ever being dramatic. Some things are better left personal. Not because they're fragile, but because they're real. And maybe that's the most modern approach of all. In a world where every relationship is expected to be documented, defined, and dissected, choosing privacy isn't avoidance. It's strategy. Because the quietest moves often protect the biggest futures. And if this is how Michelle Randolph is navigating fame now, it might explain why her next chapter looks less like a headline, and more like a career that's just getting started. There's one more layer to this story, one that goes beyond romance and straight into how Hollywood is changing behind the scenes. And that's where we'll go next.